My fiancé yells at me every time he's upset and called off our wedding a week before because I do not communicate well. Now he's begging me to take him back. We've been together for about 6 years and lived together. What happened basically was an argument that escalated. We were heading to my program graduation, and that morning as we were getting ready, I asked if he would be okay to wear one of his button-ups instead of the shirt he had on so we could get a nice photo. He was annoyed and snapped saying, "Why do I have to do things for others?" I told him that he truly doesn't have to. I was just asking, but it's ultimately his choice. He ended up putting the button up, and we arrived at the ceremony. Everything went fine, and he was very happy for me. However, on the way home in the car, traffic was filling up, and he was annoyed. I offered an alternative route that I know cut some time and the exit to that route was coming up. He didn't take it and I was slightly annoyed about it because he was cranky with me about traffic. So, I asked why he didn't take it. He started full-on yelling that my tone was rude and that he didn't have to drive the way I told him to. I replied saying that I literally just asked and I don't actually care what route he takes. He was the one having a problem with traffic. He blew up and blamed me for getting him upset. When we got home, I apologized and explained that I didn't mean to come across as mean. I also said that screaming doesn't help in any situation and that we should talk instead. He basically explained that an apology doesn't solve anything and that he needs such things not to happen, otherwise he would continue exploding at me because that's the only time I listened to him. After a few hours we spoke again. He apologized for yelling and I apologized for the miscommunication that happened. Despite resolving this, later that night, I was crying because he so easily yelled at me when he was upset. I was so upset that even on such an important day for me, I felt like he picked fights. Yelling is a red flag for me, and I never do that to him or anyone for that matter. The next morning we were having breakfast, and he asked why I seemed gloomy, so I told him that everything was okay. I was just processing what happened the day. He asked me to please share with him, so I told him that I felt like my special day was kind of ruined by fighting about things we could have easily resolved. He immediately just flipped and started getting angry again. He blamed me for the fights, and when I replied that I didn't think it was fair to blame me, he got angrier and said that he couldn't do this, that I'm not a good communicator, and that he could not get married like this. I was full-on shocked. I thought he was talking out of emotion, but this time he actually ended up sending a mass text to some guests to let them know that the wedding was called off. I was flabbergasted at the quickness and so confused. We started arguing and then had to leave for our days. Later that day when we returned, I asked if this was truly something he wanted and he responded with a confident yes. What I thought was an action out of anger seemed to be solid for him. For the rest of the night and the next day, I tried to fix things between us. After many hours of talking and lots of crying from my end, he kept explaining that I didn't communicate well and that this cancellation was my fault. I tried to offer some solutions, but he was full on with the decision to cancel and break up. I asked if we could give it another day or two to ensure this is what he wants before we cancel the venue. He declined and asked to cancel the venue and vendors immediately. So we did. The next day, I went on errands and then met with my friend. It was truly such a hard day and I was heartbroken, still digesting this is happening. When I came home, he asked me to talk and started crying that he regretted everything he said in the last few days, that he didn't mean it. He was angry and didn't think straight. He said he would start therapy and wanted to do couples counseling now too, after I offered it many times. Anyway, he apologized profusely and kept asking if we could mend everything or whether he effed up. I was almost sure this regret would come, and honestly, maybe it was mean, but I said, "Yeah, you effed up big time. You made a rash decision that hurt our relationship big time. There's no going back from here." He pretty much begged for another chance, but everything was cancelled, and my trust was shattered. The wedding's supposed to be in 2 days. His aunt was supposed to be on the way to our house to help us pack decorations, and now, there's no way we can schedule everything again, and frankly, I don't want to at this point. This is not the first he cancels plans or breaks up with me during a disagreement. Everyone is telling us that this is fixable, that clearly we love each other, so if we want, this situation doesn't have to be the end of the relationship. But I don't understand how. So much time, effort and money has gone into this wedding that's now done, and plus, more importantly, I can't trust him anymore. I don't know what to do at this point. We were supposed to go on honeymoon right after, so now I'm thinking of going by myself. He asked if we can go together and spend that time to fix things, but I'm just questioning everything. I think I prefer going myself to do some soul searching. Should I call this quits and move on with my life or take his word and start couples counseling? Update: since all this happened, he apologized profusely and offered to return the venue and still go and get married on the same day. He also offered couples counseling starting now and right after we get married, if I still want to. Additionally, he offered to go on the trip together to fix things. I declined everything since the damage had been done, and I decided to go on the honeymoon myself while he packed all his items. He's going to start his own therapy journey while we're broken up. I don't know what's next, but this hurts so much because we still love each other. He's going to work on his mental health to address his impulsive actions when he's upset. He also realized it wasn't actually a communication issue but rather how he felt attacked due to his own confidence. I appreciate his honesty but can't see how it's possible to forgive what happened. Torn between trying couples counseling since he seems genuine to completely separating.